What if I told you that there are ways to enjoy Halloween Horror Nights, even if you're a scaredy cat? It's true. Hello, 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 everyone, and welcome to my channel. I'm Reina Creole, bringing you that spice to sci fi and pop culture analysis, and of course, keeping it real when it comes to theme parks. And in this video, I kind of wanted to just give some tips for people who you hear how awesome Halloween Horror Nights is, and you hear what people put out on the interwebs, and you see the videos, and you're just like, I don't know if that's for me. I don't. Well, I call it being a scaredy cat, but you know what? Hey, scaredy cat, hesitant, either way. Or if you're just not sure if it's worth spending the money to go, I have 10 tips slash tricks of my own for you to consider if you're skittish or basically a scaredy cat about doing Halloween Horror Nights at Universal Orlando Resort. Halloween Horror Nights, which runs on select nights between September and October, has 10 haunted houses, 5 scare zones, 2 shows, all wrapped up there together. This is a continuing series about Halloween Horror Nights where I do these videos to give you guys some more information and have some fun when it comes to Halloween Horror Nights 31 coming to Universal Orlando. Now, before I get started with this video, please do your girl a super huge favor. That is subscribe to my channel. And of course, when you do me the privilege of subscribing to my channel, please do hit that thumbs up button as it helps push me up in the algorithm, get more exposure for my little channel here on YouTube. And it really, really, really helps out my channel. And I so do appreciate it. So with that said, let's get started with those tips, shall we? Tip number 1, arrive early. Now you're probably wondering, arrive early, what does that have to do with Halloween Horror Nights? Has several things to do with Halloween Horror Nights. Number 1, the earlier you get into the park, the more time you have to kind of decompress and look at all the Halloween Horror Nights stuff while it's still light outside. Finding where all the potential houses are, where the food stands are, uh, just to get an idea of the park. For some people, things seem to be a little less scary when they've seen it in the daylight. So, again, getting there early before the massive rush of crowds hit, because there's actually a time cutoff, because usually Universal Studios, the Studios Park will close early in prep for Halloween Horror Nights later on that night. However, if you are in the park before it closes, you're allowed to stay. So you can kind of get that buffer time to kind of calm your anxiety a little bit, or just, again, look at everything while it's daylight. So you know where things are, and it kind of calms your anxiety a little bit. 2, check out all of the themed food. Now, Halloween Horror Nights is famous for having all these booths with food that's themed from like different horror IPs or Universal Monsters, or just generally just some fun, gross stuff, especially the drinks, especially the booze. Lots and lots and lots of Halloween Horror Night themed drinks. So you can have a great time just going from food booth to food booth to food booth, whatever, and just touring the food and soaking up the ambiance, and people watch other people get scared. That's kind of fun. 3, the tribute store. Now, for the past 2 years, and bet your dollar to donuts is going to be one this year, Universal Orlando puts together a tribute store for Halloween Horror Night. So basically, what that is inside this tribute store, there are all these themed rooms to Halloween Horror Nights, and the rooms have different themes. Sometimes there's a coherent story of horror as well that goes through it. So it's a way to kind of experience like a haunted atmosphere without the jump scares and everything. And there's merchandise that's in there that you can buy. There's usually a very, very disrespectful selection of dessert items that you can buy as well. And if I'm reading the clues correctly that are currently in the tribute store that's there now, that's a throwback to the 80s. The tribute store for Halloween Horror Nights is probably going to be themed around a theater with a very, very dubious past that's possibly cursed. And now the theater is reopened. I wonder if they do that, if they're going to have that dude from Creep Show that's in the ticket booth. I hope they do that. But for real, the tribute store is a nice place to go in, shop, eat, soak up that Halloween atmosphere without the jump scares. 4, all the rides with little to zero wait. Now, the rides being open at Halloween Horror Nights is not something that's advertised that much, mostly because people are trying to get into the haunted houses. So they're like, bump the rides. We gotta, get in line and check out all the spooky stuff in the houses. What's going on? But you can basically walk on to the rides like Men in Black, Transformers, Despicable Me, all the things that are over there. Just boom, walk on and ride as many flipping times as you want without the usual day crowds. That's a bonus, right there. And cheaper than the express pass actually. Considering the express pass, you have to have admission into the park already, but when you buy your Halloween Horror Nights ticket for the night, boom, you're already in. There you go. 5, escape to Diagon Alley. Now, you've heard me talk about little or no wait on the rides and everything in the park, but also remember, Diagon Alley, which is part of the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, is also available during Halloween Horror Nights. I think it's some kind of licensing thing with the WB that they're not bringing in Halloween Horror Nights into Diagon Alley. Now, there may be something special in Diagon Alley during Halloween Horror Nights, something separate. I know over in the Islands of Adventure in Hogsmeade, last year they had the Death Eaters out there among the crowd doing spells and whatnot, which is pretty spell duels, I should say, which is actually pretty cool. So I don't know if they're going to be doing it in Diagon Alley. However, everything will be open in Diagon Alley, including the Escape from Gringotts ride, including, all the ambiance that's there in Diagon Alley. Definitely want to check out Nocturne Alley. That's spooky too. so you can go in there and check all of that out, while your friends are getting jump scared in the haunted houses. 6, check out the shows. Now, if this year is like it was last year, there's 2 shows you can also check out. The first show is usually a performance one. I believe last year it was called Nightmare Fuel, held in the theater, fire, pyrotechnics, spooky themes, all of that. So it's basically a show. Kind of think of like something that you would see in Vegas. It's kind of like that. So you can chill out, watch that, be in Halloween Horror Nights again without the jump scares. Now there might be scary stuff on stage. I probably can't get away from that. But at least people aren't jumping out at you. So there's that. There's also usually the water pyrotechnics show that's held in the lagoon, right in front of Central Park, which you can see like usually around every perimeter around the you can see around the perimeter of the lagoon. However, the best viewing area is going to be in Central Park. So there's usually one that's Halloween Horror Nights themed that runs during Halloween Horror Nights. So you can catch that show as well. Number 7, if the atmosphere is too much, just dip out the city walk for a little bit to kind of get a break. Now, Halloween Horror Nights, it's a constant barrage of sound and smell, and it's very, very aggressive and in your face, and sometimes just like, oh God, I just need a break. Diagon Alley might not be enough of a break. You can just step out, go to City Walk, have a voodoo donut, whatever, and then you can get admitted back in with your Halloween Horror Nights admission and get back into the swing of things. Number 8, scare zones. I think last year, I believe there were like 4 different scare zones. So now what these scare zones are is think of them as scenes from a haunted house out in the open. It's kind of actually that's not accurate. Think of it as really, really demented street performers, which is pretty much what it is. I mean, I think in a Lights, Camera, Haction, which they had, like, over in the Hollywood, section last year, you had, you know, um, scare actors, they had, like, hatchets, they had, like, chainsaws, they had one, like, in a food truck, serving stuff that may or may not contain human body parts. It's it's like yeah, demented street performance and Mardi Gras kinda all mixed up there together. Um, maybe some jump scares, so can't say there won't be any, but at least you can kinda see them coming for the most part, but if anything, they kinda, like, follow you around, look you in the eye. Some of them will play along with you, which is fun. Another fun thing, of course, photo ops. The scare zones have the best photo ops, and that's where you can actually take pictures and stuff. So definitely consider going into the scare zones and soaking up the atmosphere, taking photos, and really appreciating just all the work and effort that goes into the sets that they have, how themed the area is, and just how much work the scare actors put in. It's really something to behold. Number 9, this is a tough one, but stick with me, okay? Number 9, try at least one haunted house. Just one, just one. Try one haunted house and try it early. when it's still daylight outside. Now you're probably wondering, well, how the heck do I know which haunted house, to go in? Well, here's my scale. Okay. Usually Universal Monsters themed house, you pretty much know what you're gonna get. And this year, I believe it's called Legends Collide. So it's got like the Wolfman, Dracula, and I think the Mummy. You pretty much know what to expect with that. So I would say do that one early while it's still light outside so you can get through it and come back outside and it's like, oh God, it's still daylight. Be less creepy than doing it at night. I would say stick with Universal Monsters house. Um, I would not do any of the Bloom house haunted houses. The reason I say that, and I believe there's one because it's like for Freaky and the Black Phone. Bloom house will scare the pants off you. And last year I went in the haunting of Hill House and I came out of that one sweating and I needed a couple minutes to get my heart rate back down. And I love horror movies, but that haunted house psychologically, I just no, people came out of that one crying. So Bloomhouse, if you're a scaredy cat, don't go to any of the Bloomhouse haunted houses. Freaky, the Black Phone, don't do that. Do the Universal Monsters house and hmm, that's all I can pretty much say for now. So follow my channel because the more houses that get announced, I'm doing videos for and all of that. You probably don't want to do the Halloween 1978 house either. So stay away from that. Anyway, do Universal Monsters and then challenge yourself and do another house again while it's still light outside. You'll be great. You'll be grateful that you did. You'll be glad you did. Number 10, and this is honestly the best piece of advice that I can give you for scaredy cat. Bring friends. Bring friends, preferably taller than you. But seriously, if you bring friends, it makes the experience great. And if they know that you're real skittish, usually they're the ones that'll protect you from the jump scares. Let them get jump scared first, and you can just kind of follow, behind them. And do it that way. But Halloween Horror Nights is best when shared with friends. You can go alone, but eh, frankly, I think it's more fun going with friends because you can see how scared they get and laugh at them, especially if they get more scared than you. All right, so folks, hopefully these tips were helpful to you if you're contemplating doing Halloween Horror Nights. Let me know in the comments if you have any other additional tips and tricks for someone who either might be too scared to go or not quite sure if they should go or if it's going to be too scary for them to attend. I would love to hear from you. Oh, and I can't believe I didn't say this in another video. If your kid is younger than 13, don't bring them to Halloween Horror Nights. Okay? Just don't. Just don't. Unless your kid will sit there and watch Halloween, like the likes of Halloween and A Nightmare on Elm Street and Haunting of Hill House with the lights off and it doesn't bother them, they can probably hang with it. But just saying, know your kids. That'll end my PSA for that. All right, folks, so that is going to wrap it up for this video. If you got some value out of it, please do your girl a favor and hit that thumbs up button because that helps this video in the YouTube algorithm to have more people put eyes on my little channel over here in the YouTube sphere. And please do me the privilege of subscribing to my channel. So until next time, I will see you in the next video. Bye.